Hey guys, welcome to Braddels Gaming and to another episode of my Far Cry 5 custom map series. This is a series that I haven't actually done on this channel for very long, but what differs from this series to the community creation series is that instead of playing other people's maps from the Far Cry 5 arcade, I actually show you guys creations that I make in the Far Cry 5 arcade. And the map that you're going to be looking at today is my latest map. This is a team deathmatch multiplayer map on the Xbox One to start with. If it does have enough demand, then I'll try and contact MapSwapper to move it over to PlayStation and PC. But this is by far my most ambitious creation yet in a Far Cry game. It took me a total of 37 hours to complete this map, which is the longest time that I've taken to make a map ever. And the really cool dimension that this map has, the thing that makes it super unique, is that it's not really one map that identifies under one theme. It's actually got three main different environments within it. So the middle lane is an Egyptian desert. One of the other lanes is a urban American city street, and the final lane on the other side of the map is a thick, dense Vietnamese jungle. And so the narrative behind this map is that it's set in a futuristic military training facility where soldiers can come to train and adapt to different environments on a very quick basis. And therefore, I think Biomes is going to be an incredibly fun map to play, as each biome offers its own distinctive gameplay for the player. You could play this map in a closed lobby with friends and dictate which part of the map you guys want to play on and for how long. Additionally, in a standard open lobby, I think every player will have their opportunity to make an impact on their respective team's scoreboards. I've tried to reinforce the idea that each part of the map favors a different player's game style through the loadouts as well. Each of the four loadouts provides a different game style for each player, and there are certain parts of the map that will favor some weapons over others. But like I normally do in part 1 of this particular series, I do in the map breakdown, I do commentary on the loadouts, each part of the map, the challenges that I faced when building this creation, and the thought processes I used when creating this map also. And therefore this particular video is going to be split off into 6 parts. Part 1 I will be talking about the loadouts, Part 2 the urban biome, Part 3 the desert biome, Part 4 the jungle biome, and then with Part 5 I will be talking about a concern I have for this particular map, and with Part 6 I will summarize everything that I've said. Then in part 2, which will be dropping next week, I will show you guys gameplay of the map and basically reflect on how this particular map actually turned out in terms of multiplayer gameplay, but also to inform you guys of tips and tricks you guys can employ if you happen to play my map and you want to be able to do well. Then that is also what I'll do in part 2. Like I said, that'll be coming out next week, but for now, let's get into the Biomes map breakdown. The first loadout is the Charger class, and as the name suggests, this class is about rushing the enemy and getting super close and personal to them. The MP5 and M133 are both close quarter killing experts, so make sure you're close to your enemy when you're firing at them. The second class is the Deadeye, and in contrast to the Charger class, Deadeye is about carefully examining the conflict before you and finding the best places for you to execute long-ranged killing opportunities. On a side note though, do not underestimate the close quarter stopping power of the MS-16. The next class is the All-Rounder, and if you're not sure if you're in the mood for short or long-range kills, then try this class as it's great for killing other players at any range providing you have the skill to execute the ARC and D50 effectively. Finally, we move to the Dominator class, and if you're someone that loves firepower, this is the class for you. The M249 and D2 are both extremely powerful weapons, and similar to the all-rounder class, these weapons complement each other extremely well at being able to kill enemies at most ranges. The urban biome was definitely the most challenging part of the build. In fact, it took me many months to be able to motivate myself to actually complete this part of the map, as I just wasn't sure how to actually go about executing a believable urban environment in a Far Cry game. In past Far Cries, we really haven't had the assets or the tools to be able to create these urban environments, because in past editors it only had assets from the game's open world. It didn't have assets from other Ubisoft games, like Far Cry 5 has given us the opportunity to do so. But regardless of this being my first attempt at trying to create a believable urban environment in a Far Cry game, I'm extremely happy with how the final result came about. Even though this is only 1/3 of the map, it is still quite a large surface area, and it's pretty full scale as far as urban maps go. You've got this really long city street that goes from one side of the map to the other, and you've got a detour as well, a little pathway on the side of this particular biome. You guys can also see that it interconnects with the other environment right next to it, which is the Egyptian desert. So it's very well sort of connected to other parts of the map. But as you guys can see here, what I've basically done is I've created a traffic jam caused by a police pursuit. So what that has allowed me to do is it's allowed me to flood the streets with a lot of vehicles, not vehicles that you can drive, but vehicles that you can use as hard cover to be able to take cover behind from enemy shots. On this side of the urban biome, you've got a flanking opportunity. I didn't want this to just be one long urban city street from one side of the map to the other. I wanted to provide this alternative route for the player, just to add a little bit more interest, a little bit more of an extra dimension to this part of the map. And so what I went for is a fruit market on one alley, some storage and supplies behind the shop, and a pocket park which is baseball inspired to fit in with the American theme, as this is of course set in America, at least this part of the map. So you've got your fountain, your benches, all the things that you'd expect to see in a park. And then you've also got this shop which acts as a little supermarket, and a room here which has a little bit more of a futuristic element attached to it. I'm not actually going to reveal what is actually in that room, as I want to keep it a surprise, and just to build a little bit of suspense. It could be a bad surprise, it could be a good surprise, but the only way you guys are going to find out is by playing this map and by opening that door. You guys will also notice that the urban environment excels in a lot of different ranges of engagement. So whether you use the Deadeye class or the Charger class or even the All-Rounder or Dominator, I feel like the urban biome is a pretty diversified environment for people to fight in. There's a lot of different ranges that they can use to their advantage. There's a lot of cover, so you can get close to your enemy and shotgun or SMG machine gun them down, or alternatively, there is a couple sight lines that you can actually snipe from. So this middle part of the map, you can see that there is a sight line from the middle to the futuristic tunnels where either team comes out of, and that kind of gives you a good sight line as a sniper to be able to get those long ranged weapon sort of opportunities as well. But then also with the Dominator and All-Rounder class, obviously those weapons can be quite good at a lot of different ranges as well. As you guys can see here, demonstrating with the MP5, it's probably not the best weapon for me to demonstrate with, but it definitely does sort of show you all the different sort of sightlines that the urban environment has. I found the desert biome or the Egyptian biome the easiest to recreate, purely because I've already attempted two other maps in the Far Cry arcade. Ancient Horus and Palmy Pyramids too, which use a strictly desert Egyptian atmosphere. And so creating this particular biome in this map was super easy because I already had prior experience. For some reason, I also find Egyptian environments really fun and easy to do. Maybe that's because I played a lot of Assassin's Creed Origins, which was a really good, which was a really good game in itself as well. But one thing you immediately notice from this part of the map is that it's a lot more open than the other environments. So with the urban biome, there's obviously a lot of cars and vehicles that you can use as cover. But with the Egyptian biome, with the desert biome, it's a lot more open and barren. And given there's a lot more sunlight in this map, it's very easy for you to be able to spot enemies. There's still some visual cover in terms of the vegetation that is sort of scattered around this part of the map, and that is definitely going to allow you to hide into that cover and try and camouflage yourself so you can be all sneaky and maybe do some knockdowns on the enemies from behind without them knowing that you're there. But there's also this hill here, which is kind of an Easter egg from Assassin's Creed Origins. I'm not really sure the significance of these lion statues lined up on either side of the pathway. I suspect it may be a tribute towards the pyramids from Assassin's Creed Origins. And similarly, what I've done here is I've used that same sort of significance to sort of lead the player to the pyramid. The pyramid is really small, but I didn't really want an overly large pyramid. I just wanted this small sort of pyramid that players could easily climb on and use. But the other great thing about the pyramid, and the reason I put it here, was to act as a centerpiece for the map, but also to break the sight line between Team 1 and Team 2 so that they can't shoot each other from their spawns immediately. They've actually got to move closer. As you guys can see here, I'm signaling with my head that from one futuristic building to the other, you can't just directly fire at the enemy. You've actually got to move through the Egyptian biome or any other biome to actually get to the enemy. You can't just straight away shoot at them, and that's to stop the map from becoming an outright sniping fest. The jungle biome represents a two-edged sword for players. It can be both a treacherous and rewarding experience. There are snakes populated throughout the entire biome, whilst I also suspect many campers will be hiding within this jungle. This was the first biome I concentrated on creating, and so I started it way back in 2018, where my skills as a Far Cry map editor weren't as good as they are today. As a result, you'll see a major mistake in this part of the map, and that's the lack of terrain changes. In jungles around the world, you obviously find a lot of different terrain changes, so in order to combat this, late in the map build, around mid to late 2019, I separated the jungle biome into two main areas. On one side, you've got the thick, lush jungle reinforced by a small tunnel system that starts on one side of the map and ends at the middle bunker. The other side of the jungle biome is extremely devastated by the crash site of an AC-130 gunship, which not only creates a huge obstruction, but can also be used by the player as a pathway via the plane's wing, which I tilted on its side to give players this opportunity. As a result, this tilt connects the crashed gunship with the abandoned church on the other side of the biome, which is a great vantage point for reconnaissance and long-ranged sniping opportunities. Whilst you can expect to find campers populated through this biome, there's also some great surprises in the form of weapon pickups, which if you're bored by the current weapons you have equipped, you can use these weapon pickups to mix things up, or if you find one weapon pickup that I think will particularly change the tide of the battle, well, prepare to have the time of your life. Now, one of the big concerns I have about this map is the sheer size and scale of it, and I haven't even talked about the futuristic exoskeleton that creates the pathway to connect all biomes within each other that you guys are seeing on screen right now. Just quickly, the futuristic hallways that you see, they're very simple, they're very symmetrical, they just use a few of the different futuristic Blood Dragon assets. As you guys can see, the sightlines are quite long in terms of you seeing the player from your current position, I guess you could say. But what I mean in terms of the size being a slight concern is I think the map has a huge surface area in terms of how much there is to explore. And I want players to explore the map as I put lots of effort into creating it. And knowing they want to explore my creation is obviously a super positive message for me. But at the same time, I hope the gameplay won't suffer as a result of people either, one, sticking to only one part of the map because it's their favorite part, or two, exploring the map instead of playing the objective. I'm hoping that people can find a way to be able to do both. Thank you guys very much for watching this video. I know this was a lot to ingest, especially given that there was no multiplayer gameplay today to complement my commentary. But as I said at the start of the video, the gameplay video should drop next week. Once again, this is my most ambitious creation in a Far Cry editor to date. This is my longest map project ever, with a 37-hour timestamp of completion. I started this map way back in 2018, and it's now finally complete in 2020. If you liked the map, which will be published by the time you see this video, please remember to give that a like on the Far Cry 5 arcade and tell all your friends about it, as I think it's going to be a super fun map for everyone involved. If you guys enjoyed this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for future channel notifications. But as always, I'm Braddels Gaming, I'm signing out now, and remember to have yourselves a great day.